What black market did kids at your school run? When I was in the 6th grade, a teacher sold candy in between classes at marked up rates. A student decided to undercut her. That put an end to all candy sales. Till the school system hates the free market. Classic example of big business legislating small business out of the market. You could even say it was a textbook example. I would buy 6 packs of soda for $1.79 and resell the 6 sodas for a total of $3. These little game coupons that our teacher gave out for winning class quiz games. Right when people were starting to get scanner printers in their own homes, some kid made copies of his coupons and sold or traded them to other students. Edit. Since I have some people asking what the coupons could be traded for, it was usually a piece of candy or a pencil with a fun print or something similar. I think the kids ended up getting caught like 2 weeks into the scheme. Edit 2. A lot of people are comparing this to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I've heard of but never read before. I think kids are just clever and do this kind of thing on their own because a lot of people in the replies had similar things happen in their own schools as well. I don't know if this is where the kid got his idea or not, but this may have been before those books came out. And that's how you first learned about inflation. In a similar vein, our high school had homework passes redeemable across all classes. You could use them as either one free pass for a homework assignment or 1 day delay on a large report. They even had a void message if copied. The teachers got them from the principal at the beginning of each quarter and they passed them out with wild abandon to anyone showing interest in class. The market was flooded. It'd buy them from kids for $2 each. Then it'd wait. At the end of the quarter, larger reports would be due. Rich kids would buy them back from me for $1.25, $1.50 each. I once made $370 in the last 5 days of the quarter. Whatever I earned, it'd typically only use a total of $15 to $20 to buy the next wave of homework passes. The rest was mine to keep. It all started with a single 0.75-cent investment, and that was the only bit of money I ever paid from my own pocket to keep it going. The only guy in the school whose family had proper TV channels used to tape wrestling events and rent them out. That late 90s ECW was hard to get a hold of. My buddies and I would pool money to watch the PPV events at my house and always recorded them on VHS. Unfortunately, my mother saw an especially bloody ECW match, so we could only order WWE events. Luckily, I was always nice to the 2 ICP kids and they had all of the ECW shit. They would always loan me tapes to copy over the weekend, and on Monday we would be so excited to talk about them. This is the most 90s Midwestern thing I've ever read. Laugh my ass off. As a person from the Midwest who was in middle school in the 90s, that post didn't even seem that weird to me. I was just like, yeah, this sounds like something my friends and I might have done. MP3s and CDRs were just becoming available. A guy I knew made a killing on mixed CDs. Every week he circulated forms to fill out, where you selected the songs you wanted on the CD. The newest hits were on the top, and changed weekly. The rest of his library filled the rest of the form, and there was a space for requests. He'd deliver your disc the following week. He seriously made bank for a couple years until everybody started getting their own songs from LimeWire or whatever. I don't know what he's doing now, 20 years later, but I don't doubt he's successful. Edit, just as a bit of an aside, since a few responses have mentioned LimeWire, when this guy started doing it in HS, the only real avenues for music sharing were Usenet groups and IRC. I had 2 brothers in my school who did this in 7th and 8th grade. They were the only ones with a CD burner and they crushed it, $5 a pop. And a lot of times they'd just burn whatever rap was popular or shit they both liked, but at the time, I especially had no other access to that shit as we didn't have cable TV or high-speed internet, so it was a hot commodity. A few of us did this when I was in college. This was back when CD burners were still $500 plus, and CDRs were $5 plus. My dorm floor had a bunch of pirates on it. Actually, they probably had the majority of burners for the entire campus, and it was a fairly large school. They made an agreement to standardize prices so that no one would get ripped off, and everyone contributed money to bulk purchase blank CDs. That, and one person also would mod people's PSXs for $25. So, every week, and it was a rotating group of people, some people in our dorm would pretty much buy every new game E.B. Babbage's, they'd burn a copy, and they'd just return all the games. This was back when they still allowed open package returns and never bothered collecting any data. You have the receipt? That's good enough. While ripping music and hacking PSXs I can get behind, But you guys were fixing prices too. That's outrageous. This girl Danielle convinced my best friend and I, along with some other people, that she could forever change the taste of saliva in our mouth. So that our saliva would taste like watermelon, cotton candy, bubble gum, etc. forever. She made us wait a couple days so we could really think about what flavor we wanted in our mouth forever. For example, she would tell us, "Are you sure you always want everything you eat to have a hint of watermelon?" Anyways, after a couple days and we picked a flavor, she charged us money. I can't remember how much, but it was probably 50 cents or something. She made us chew on all this crazy stuff like paper clips, erasers, and other things. Obviously our saliva never changed flavor and she stopped this. But I worked at Starbucks a couple years ago in my hometown and she came in and didn't even recognize me, and all I could think about was how that girl had me chewing on paper clips. Was she head of her own religion by then? Maybe a bunker full of mole men. Day alive, damn it. Nintendo games. Some kid sold them off for like 10 or 15 bucks a pop. I don't know where he got them from, but he said he just told his dad what he wanted and his dad would get it for him. He'd ask for the same ones over and over and it didn't matter, he'd end up with 5 copies and he'd just sell 4 of them. Either the kid was the most spoiled brat in history, or his dad was straight up stealing them anyhow. Anyways, I could never get any. I had a Sega, but I remember that kid making a killing in grade 3. Updates and answers. It was NES. Please tell me how to download a car. I had the principal's secretary's handwriting down and used to sell hall passes for $1 each. Made a killing. Edit. I don't really know how much I made, but it was in the realm of $5 a day. Sometimes I went dry because you needed the actual pass paper, but I finally figured out how to get into the supply closet, slide the student ID by the latch bolt. I only took a few pads at a time so they wouldn't get suspicious. Edit 2. I could also forge my mother's signature. Did it so well that when I brought in a note from her that she scribbled on the dash, they called her to confirm. I never grasped the concept of hall passes. Do you have hall wardens which detain you if caught without a pass? Freeze criminal scrum and show me your hall pass. Kinda. I've seen hall monitors on TV shows, but typically just that any teacher or administrator could stop you and check that you had a pass to make sure you weren't up to any unauthorized shenanigans. My school did actually have a security guards that just walked around the school constantly, and the only thing they did was annoy students and pretend they had real authority. Cuban sandwiches straight out of duffel bag before school. They were bomb, cheap and way better than the lunch in the cafeteria. Best sandwiches ever. I grew up in Tampa and I miss being able to go to Ybor City for a real one. The few places in California I have found that sell them all put mayo on them. Makes me so mad, so now I just make my own using a slow cooker to do the pork. Edit. Since so many people are asking for the recipe I use, here you go. I went to a private high school with a strict dress code, ties, belt, etc. So I bought a bunch of ties and belts from a thrift store and ran a lucrative rental business out of my locker. Rent a swag. In high school, this guy sold socks in the hallways. I'd ask why there was a market, but I'm not sure I want to hear the answer. I went to school with a lot of emo kids and apparently socks ruin the look of Converse and Vans. The gym teachers hated it, so if you weren't wearing socks, you couldn't participate and you got an F for the day. What if you wore ankle socks? Just had to prove you were wearing them. Silly bands. I remember a kid made like $50 one day. Wanting to get in on this craze, I remember saving up for a month and going to the dollar store and buying a couple dozen packs of these damn things. Only when I got home, I realized these packs were the ones that always contained exactly the same ones in every pack, and nobody thought they were cool or wanted any of them. About a month later they went completely out of style. It kept me up at night for a while.